Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Sheepish Magpie in 2019. I'm Carolyn and I'm coming from eastern area out of Toronto, and I'm bringing you my vlog about knitting, crocheting, crafting, and this is the first weekly episode. In December, you may have joined me for my Advent calendar openings, and now we're moving on to a different format of weekly podcasts, and I hope that you'll join me for those too. It is Friday. It is a bright sunny day out there. I don't have to go to work till later this afternoon, so I have some time to film this vlog and show you what I've been working on. My 3 of the kids are home right now. 2 of them are sleeping. I'm gonna have to get them up pretty early to get some stuff going. This is the last day of winter break, and on Monday they're back to school, and we're all back to the same routine of driving and commuting and back to school. I'm on call till the end of January, except for a couple days here and there. So I have been preparing to be pretty busy. It's not been too bad so far. I was in my bed last night, so that was lovely. But we'll see what this weekend brings as some due dates approach. So this morning I am sipping my turmeric latte in my Monsters Inc. cup. Everybody needs a Monsters Inc. cup, and I love this cup. If you've seen the movie, the opening credits are a lot of fun, and the music is very bright and sunny and bouncy. So whenever I drink from this cup, I think of those first few bars of that opening song that's like do 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 do. Sorry, I'm probably not on tune, but you get the idea. So anyways, this is just a cheerful cup, and this is the turmeric latte that I've been drinking from Organic Traditions, and it's really yummy. I mean, it has a bit of odd taste at first, but now I really crave it, and it's got coconut sugar and some other things. It's not very sweet though, and I really like that, so that's what I am drinking this morning. I'll probably end up with like a yellow smiley face like a goof, but bear with me if that happens. So one of the things that I'm really proud of, starting off on the right foot 2019, is getting more organized. And having young children, it's always a challenge to strike a balance between the house, between enough rest, between, for me, enough crafting time, and, just spending time with the family. But I think we struck that balance, and one of the things I'm most proud of is cleaning my office. So I'm going to insert a little video here of my before and my after taken this morning. So here you go. Here is my totally messy, terrible office. And it was clean just a week or 2 ago, and then the parcels started arriving for Christmas, and then this happened. So I definitely have my work cut out for me, and I pledge this week to try to get my office cleaned up so that it looks so much better and so much more organized. And I will show you the results. All right, so here are the results of me cleaning up my office. I'm pretty pleased with just how much work I was able to get done. Everything is neat and tidy and organized. I know where everything is. All my yarn has been cataloged into my Ravelry page, and yeah, I managed to get things done. That little pile on my desk is on my sewing table are projects to be done. I still have a little bit of paper to work through, and this is my work in progress tower of either projects that are specific to certain yarns and patterns that have been joined up, or things actually on the way. And there is my spinning wheel, which hasn't been used in ages. So the only thing I have to do in here is to vacuum, and then this room is pretty much all done. So that was a challenge that I gave to myself, and it's done. Woo! So as you can see, I'm pretty proud of what happened there with my office. It's actually really organized, and that's the part that I'm most proud of. It's not just that stuff is shoved in the corners here and there, but it's actually put away. So that's terrific, and I'm happy about that. All my yarn got cataloged on Ravelry, and I know where everything is. So now it's quite an inspiring room. As you can see from the videos, I have a large, what used to be a dining room table. This used to be our dining room, and we just never sat in it, never. We have a big family kitchen table, like a big farmer's table that seats up to 16 with the leaves all pulled out. But normally we just have everyone sitting around there and we never use this room. So I repurposed it into my office and my craft room with all my supplies. Now my crafts used to live in like a double closet and they quickly grew out of that space. So here they are in my office and I'm filling it up quite nicely. This year, I'm hoping to not buy particularly much yarn, except for the yarn that I love. As I mentioned in a previous video, I got a bunch of sweater quantities on really deep discounts, so I want to use those up. And I have a number of projects. I did pretty well this year using up stash yarns and also working on some projects. And in preparing for today's video, I thought, okay, I'm going to pull out all of my works in progress and show them to you. And then I realized it would be a very boring video because I had more than I actually realized. So I've just taken out 4 to show you, the 4 that I'm most likely to get done in the next little while, and thought that that could be something that I show you every week about the progress that I'm making, but also the other works in progress that I have. Now, most of my projects are knit, about a quarter of them are crochet, so I'm going to try to keep a crochet project on the go so that I don't neglect lovely crochet. I love crochet and sometimes I get so sick of knitting, and crochet is quite a relief. And I have a long-standing project that I'll show you next week that I'm crocheting that is hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours that I hope to get done for Christmas next year for the 2 girls, but I'm going to save that project for next week. So without further ado, I wanted to do a calendar wrap-up of the Advent calendars, and I don't think that I ever showed you in sum total what came. So I'm going to insert some photos here into the video to show you what came. And the first one is the Miss Babs Advent calendar in Escher. And those were all tonal grays and black and a cream color. And so I think that is really, really neat. The next one is also Miss Babs, and that is the Renaissance colorway. So lots of rich jewel tones, imagine velvets and sumptuous fabrics. And so I was really thrilled with these colors. They're right up my alley. The next one is Canon hand dyes, and this was the Outlander set. So again, very rich, some naturals. I imagine a lot of these colors that would have similar colors when dyed with plants and flowers and that sort of thing. So I really loved these ones as well. I'm in the middle of watching the latest season of Outlander, so that's a lot of fun to have those that are in my stash to work with on something. I don't know yet what. The next one is Lemonade Shop, bright and colorful punches of color. These are perfect for items for my girls who are in love with bright colors. And so I don't know quite what I'm going to do with them. Maybe a sweater, maybe some socks. I'm not quite sure yet. And then the last one is the little box of crochet, and that was all of the ornaments. And I don't have a picture of that one to show you, but it was many, many colorful balls of yarn. And I managed to make some of the ornaments, but not all of them. So for next year, I'm going to try to get caught up and do a bunch more because they were a lot of fun, and the kids really enjoyed seeing them hanging up on that metal stand tree that I got to display them. So I think they're going to become favorites to pull out every year. The girls took them off and were playing with them, so that was kind of fun. And then their dad told them, put them back on before mom sees. So they did. They were very good about it. And then the other box that I got was the Atelier perfume box. And again, I don't have a picture of all the things that came. It was lovely. And I'm really looking forward to using those things. And dare I say it, smell better in 2019. So, but I managed to take all of those out, and they're upstairs in my bedroom now, ready to be used in the shower and in the bath and daily. All right, so I wanted to move on to some of the projects that I did for 2018. And one of the nice things about being really religious about putting everything on Ravelry is that I was able to kind of look at the year and what I had completed and how many of them were new projects and how many of them were old projects. And I was pretty thrilled to discover that I had done a bunch of things that had been in my queue for a while. Now I had a shawl that I'd been working on for a little while that I gifted to my mother-in-law, and it had been kind of my car project. It sat in my purse, and whenever I had some time, I would work on it because big bands of the shawl were just garter, and so that was perfect for just picking up here and there and doing a row. And it was also kind of boring at one point, so having the kind of project where late at night when I was at a birth or just sitting around, could just do a row or two and knock them off. And that was the rosewater shawl. Now, if you want to see my projects, please check out my Ravelry project page. You can find me on Ravelry as Terrapin, Terapin, and you can see my project page there. I did 32 projects in 2018, and of those 32, 4 of them were cowls and scarves, 5 were pairs of socks, 3 were hats, 4 were sweaters, including baby sweaters, 4 were tops, including a child's top, 2 of them were accessories, 4 of them were home accessories, 2 of them were shawls, 3 of them were toys, and 1 was a baby dress. So for each of my girls, for their first birthday, I knitted them a dress that I will put away for them and they can keep. And this year's dress was for Genevieve, who turned 1 last February. And it was a gorgeous, gorgeous dress that was in a colorway called Copper Penny, just out of the most divine cashmere. It's 100% cashmere. And the dresses was super sweet on her. And so I was really thrilled to make her that dress. Gwen's dress, made in 2016 in October, was made out of cotton, beautiful cotton silk, and the dress was so super cute. It looks like a little fairy dress, and I loved having those things for the girls. So hopefully they'll become things that they will hold on to and cherish, maybe long after I'm gone, and will appreciate that I put that time into it for them, and maybe they'll become family heirlooms. Who knows? My girls love when I knit things for them. They seem to totally get that I have thought of them when I'm knitting them, and they think they're really special. So I'm hoping that that continues on and they don't just roll their eyes when mom gives them a hand knitted item, but in fact, they still love it. So I have on my Ravelry project page all of the projects that I worked on and all of the yarn, and of those, a number of them were crochet. I think I did let's see if I can, I think I did 6 different crochet projects out of the 32. So we're sitting there at around 25% of my projects tend to be crochet, and so that was a lot of fun. I was surprised I did as many socks as I did. I like knitting socks. I always have a pair on the go, and I have a pair on the needles right now that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But it was really nice to kind of review the projects that I had done for the year. I gifted most of them, so it was nice to review those project pages. And I think I did about 9 kilometers of yarn in total I used up, so over 9,000 meters. So that was pretty amazing to also see that stuff. So that stat. So if you're not cataloging your things on Ravelry, I highly encourage you to. It's a lot of fun. You can make some notes that might be helpful for other people who are making that pattern later on. You can store pictures, and it's really nice to review your year. So I don't have anything yet for 2019. I'm working on a couple projects. Certainly some of them will be done by the end of the year. By the end of this month, pardon me. I don't know if I'm going to get to 32 for 2019. We shall see kind of where I go with things. So I've got some pretty big projects on the needles that are pretty time consuming. So I don't know if my goal is going to be to get to 32 or to get to that same 9,000 meters of yarn, or what my goal is going to be, but I hope it's lots of knitting. So yeah, that was fun to do that review. Moving on to some of the projects that I'm working on now, I am really thrilled. I wanted to do a pair of socks. As I said, I got my last pair of socks off my needles. They were for my husband, I believe, and I wanted to knit a new pair of socks. So I had this yarn, and I was trying to figure out, like, what yarn do I want to knit with that's going to make me the happiest. And this is the yarn, excuse my little bit of a messy cake. This was the yarn that I chose, and it is from Backyard Fiber Company, and they in their sorry, lots of ums today, in their sock base that includes some cashmere in it. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's super soft and squishy. I have to get my cake back in order, and I had to find the perfect pattern. So I spent a very enjoyable hour the other day looking up patterns for the sock, because it's so bright and colorful. I wanted something that was nice, but something that wasn't too complicated. There's certainly a lot of really complicated sock patterns out there, but for my socks, I like to take them with me and knit on them as I can, or watching TV. So this pattern that I ended up choosing is called Clark Socks, and I print out all my patterns. I know some people love to do them online with some of the, but I like a good hard pattern. So this was the one that I chose, Clark Socks, and you can't really see too much detail with this russet color, but it has a panel up the front of a braid, and on each side are these little lines, and then on the back is another sweet little cable up the back of the leg. So in this one, really most of the rows are pretty similar except for jogging this pearl stitch over, and only 2 of the 8 rounds are cable rounds, and so that makes pretty relaxing knitting, and you can kind of tell which round you're on, and I absolutely adore this color. Now in this light, it's quite blue out today with the sun reflecting off the snow. This color is a little bit kind of oranger than it's showing up on the camera when I compare the two. This is just like a it looks more kind of daffodil on the screen, but it's more marigold, which is the name of the colorway. So they're super soft. These are for me, and I'm looking forward to expanding my sock collection. I'm wearing a pair of socks now that I knit, and those are one of the projects that I'm working on now. And this project is being stored in a bag that was made by my friend Erin at Bling Your String, and this is a lovely Matryoshka doll bag. I love her bags. They're square, which for me works really well. I like that the zipper kind of opens up the whole way. They have enough substance to them that needles don't poke through, but they're also squishy enough that I can kind of throw it in my purse when I want to take it with me. So that's one of the projects that I'm working on. The pattern again is called Clark Socks, and the yarn that I'm using is Backyard Fiber Company. And I picked that up at Vogue Live New York in 2017, and I bought it directly from the vendor who had a lovely little booth. And when I saw that yellow, I knew that yellow had to come home with me. Yellow is one of my favorite colors. I guess it's pretty similar to my turmeric latte, so maybe that's what I needed. But you know, I love knitting socks, and so much of the time spent with yarn for me is around soothing and relaxing and chasing away anxiety and worries. And so when I looked through my yarn cabinet, these are most of my sock yarns in the top 2 shelves. I wanted something bright and colorful to kind of chase away the winter, which can be quite dark. Now today isn't a dark winter day, it's actually very sunny and lovely, but so many of the days are gray, and so that yellow just seemed absolutely perfect, and I'm hoping to have them ready for spring, or you know, ready enough to peek out over the tops of boots wearing with leggings, and I can see that little pop of yellow, and that will be cheerful. I'm pretty sure I know the next set of socks that I'm going to knit after this, and the yarn, and it's kind of a spring flowery kind of yarn. But I'll hold off. So we'll see what mood strikes me when it comes to time to choose the yarn for the next pair of socks. The next thing I want to show you is my Find Your Fade pattern. Sorry. And this is the pattern is called Comfort Fade Cardi. And as you can see, you might not be able to see, this is, I'm getting there. I'm on the second sleeve. The first sleeve is all done. And it's the biggest part of the project I'm totally dreading, is picking up the cowl neck. And it's quite long. And I think, I read ahead to the pattern, and I'm pretty sure I have to pick up all of these stitches from the front, the neck, and down the other front. This yarn is so super scrumptious. This color is a little bit pinker than it's showing. This is brilliant. It's Miss Babs, as you know, one of my favorites if you've watched me before. And this set of 4 yarns is absolutely gorgeous. And the first one is this bright red. Oops, sorry about that. It's absolutely gorgeous. On my Ravelry page should be the actual names of the colors, the colorways that I'm using. If not, I'll post them soon. And this is the second color. It's like a red and a black, very similar to the other red. The color number 3 is this gorgeous color that introduces kind of a bluer base with a little bit of purple. And then the last color is this deep, deep blue, almost black. And so one of the reasons I really loved this color selection was that I have a lot of black clothes. a lot of gray clothes too, apparently. I didn't know I had so many gray clothes till I started filming these videos. But I liked it because with the black, I can wear it with black, and with the blue, I can wear it with blue jeans. And you know, I try not to mix up blue and black. It's probably an old-fashioned rule, but I don't know. It just doesn't look right to me. Now, my fashion sensibilities probably lie more in the 80s than in 2019. But to be honest, I still think that matching your socks to your top is pretty darn neat. But in any case, I like the fact that with this sweater, with the blue and the black, I could wear it with jeans and it would look good, or I could wear it with black leggings and it would also kind of matchy-match. And in my brain, that kind of thrilled me. So that's one of the reasons I chose this. Now, when I was buying this yarn, I was so tempted by another colorway, and it is in fact in the cupboard behind me. And it's all oranges and grays and blacks. And on the most recent Miss Babs Gratitude sale, I also bought a very similar colorway for a cowl. And I don't need any more yarn. However, it still jumped into the basket and is on its way to me because I absolutely loved it, and who doesn't love a deal? It's for a cowl, so I told myself that the other yarn that I had was in similar colorways was actually for a sweater, and sweaters and cowls aren't the same thing, and so I needed it, and so I bought it. And there may have been a couple of other things that jumped in that package as well. Now, it might be here in time for next week for me to show you, but it may not. I don't have too many other yarn packages coming other than the Sock Club from Biscott, little box of crochet, and this package. Oh, and I did buy another pair of socks from another dyer that has really neat things, but I think that's it. So I don't know that I'm doing particularly well on my not buying too much more yarn, but let's just say it was probably less than I bought last year so far. Although it's only January 5th, so maybe I'm doing pretty crappy on the not buying yarn. I'm not sure. But in any case, I'm happy that they're going to show up at my house. And when they do, I will share that with you. The next project that I'm going to show you is a crochet project, and it's my Lost in Time shawl. And I have had so much fun with this. Now, I am not an expert crocheter, and so this pattern was really intimidating. And I have to admit, some of the repeats I have a challenge with just because I got to think it through. But I've just been letting it flow, and I am so thrilled with how it's turning out. This yarn is Feederbrook Farms. It's one of my favorite yarns. This is the Entropy, and this is actually the same colorway. Like, it's all one very long transition colors. Here's what the cake of yarn looks like. So you can see some more of that gorgeous tealy peacock blue coming up. And then I also got another ball of this yarn from someone online, and it's a little different, much more yellow. But one of the things I love about her yarns are that when they are plied together, they are, definitely different colors plied. And so that really helps those long color changes seem gradual. And it's kind of magic because it doesn't look like the colors bleed into the other rows, but they do. But because they're so subtle, it makes it look perfect, like this yarn was dyed for each individual row. But when you put the yarn together and you kind of look at the row upon row, you can, I don't know if I can do that, but you can see that they're actually each row is a little different from the start to the end. But when you have it like this, it just looks amazing. So I'm so looking forward to finishing this shawl. I guess I'm about halfway done. I'm not sure. I was just going to use the yarn up till it ended and bind it off. So I'm hoping that it ends up being maybe about 30% bigger, and it'll be a really, really great shape. And the yarn is really nice, but I'm so thrilled by this. I love the look of this. So maybe it'll be done in time for next fall. These are totally great fall colors. And yeah, we'll see. So that's the project, and that pattern is called Lost in Time, and you've probably seen it. It's pretty popular on Ravelry, and I'm really loving my version of it. And this yarn is perfect because it is quite soft. It doesn't have amazing stitch definition. Really, it's the colors that show, and that's perfect for my level of crochet where it's not always perfect. And I think if I was using some of the yarn that had a better stitch definition, I might feel like I had to rip out a bunch more for the little mistakes that showed up. But this yarn is perfect at camouflaging my only decent crochet skills, so I'm happy with that. And the last pattern I'm going to show you is a sweater for Genevieve, and I think her birthday is in February, February 25th. She is turning 2, and so I'm going to try to get this done for her birthday because it won't fit her too much longer. And this is the pattern, and it's called Henley. and it's put out by Ella Ray Yarns, and I matched it with the yarn that they recommended, which is their Cozy Alpaca. And this has gorgeous drape. It's super soft and squishy. What I have discovered is that I am a little sensitive to alpaca, and so I can't knit with it for too very long. It just makes me a little bit wheezy. I have asthma, and it does kind of trigger that a little bit. I'm hoping once I wash it and stuff, it'll be okay. It seems to be fine if I don't, I'm not just, I think with knitting, sometimes it like just kind of gets kicked up in your face a bit more. I have a alpaca sweater and I seem to be able to wear it, but I'm really thrilled with that. So those are the cables on the back. And then I have each of the side panels done, like the front panels, I mean. And the last thing that I'm working on now is the sleeves, I think. I have to look at what I've got here. Yeah, I'm working on sleeves. With this one, I decided the pattern has cabled sleeves, and I decided that I was just going to do simple garter stitch up the sleeves and pull in the little pattern that they had in between the cables, a few little on the sleeves for a little bit of detail, but that I wanted the sleeves quite plain for my daughter, partly because I want to get this project finished, and also because I think with the cabled sleeves it maybe looks a little less unisex. I think with just plain garter sleeves or knit, I haven't quite decided, but I think I'm just going to do them in garter. It'll make it just look a little bit more feminine. I don't know. But anyway, it's just a style decision that I decided that I wanted to do. And that one I've been working on for about a year, and the yarn is really, really nice and silky. So it's really, really soft. So that's what I'm working on there. So those are the 4 projects that I wanted to show you today, and show you kind of what is in my bag, and I'm going to try to make some progress on those things before I do my next video, particularly the socks. I'm just really enjoying knitting them, and I'm working through that last sleeve on my Comfort Fade Cardi, and I don't love sleeves. I don't like knitting in the round on small items that aren't socks. I tried to do those sleeves on double pointed needles, but it's reverse garter, and I mean it's reverse stockinette. Is it? I think that's reverse stockinette, and I just couldn't get the tension between the different needles right, so I'm knitting them on circular needles with long loops, but I'm really ready to be done. Unfortunately, the first sleeve that I did it according to the pattern, and it just was left to kind of roll up, and I don't love that. I'm gonna take it out and add some ribbing at the bottom, a wide ribbing cuff. That's what I prefer. And so I'm going to do that on the second sleeve and make sure I like it, and then go back and fix the other one. And then I'm going to take a good stiff drink and pick up all of those stitches. I think it's almost 400 stitches to pick up and knit the cowl collar. But then once it's on, it should just be mindless knitting, and I should be able to knock it off in just a few sessions of knitting. The last thing that I wanted to show you was a finished object. I guess did I get this done for December? No, I got it done for December, but it was my last finished object, and I don't think I showed you. And this is my Pincha shawl. And I loved this. This yarn is called Stitch Please. I imagine that it's not Stitch Please, it's Stitch Please, but it's this one, and this is actually a present for somebody who shall go unnamed, but it was really fun. And the way that the pattern is knit is you do each of these kind of feathers with just short rows, really simple, just kind of wrap stitches, and then you go all the way back to the beginning, cast off a few, and then begin the next feather. And each feather was kind of an enjoyable amount of knitting, so in a night I could get 1 or 2 of them done, mostly just one. And once I kind of got into the rhythm, it was really fun, and I quite love how this yarn pooled. I used another yarn that was rainbow because the recipient really likes rainbow yarn, but the color changes were too quick and it just kind of looked all over the place. But with this one, I think it just turned out amazingly, and the feathers look great. I briefly toyed with the idea, because I had 2 skeins, this only took 1, 2 skeins of actually knitting it so that each of the ends were tipped with the rainbow, but in the end I decided to go like this, and I'm glad I did. I think it would have looked great the other way, but maybe just a little more contrived, where this, I just love the flow. And one of the things I was really happy with is that my tension is quite similar through the whole thing, and so it actually did repeat, which is cool, so that there's the same feather pattern several times in the shawl. I think I got 3. So this was 12 feathers. And with this pattern, you simply go until you don't want to go anymore. And then I just started to bind off on my last feather. So I hope the recipient likes it. It's just a cute little, scarf, goes around the shoulder and goes around the shoulders, and I hope they really like that. So that was my last finished object of 2018. I think it was on my list of the ones that I finished in 2018. Yeah. And I started this in 2016, so that was one of the projects that I was pretty happy to finally get off my needles, and it liberated my Matryoshka doll bag for my next project. So that's sitting on my desk ready to be wrapped up. So speaking of wrapping up, that's all that I have for you today. My goal was to bring this video to around 30 minutes, and here we are. We're getting pretty close. Thank you so much for joining me. If you had been watching me in December, thank you for returning. And if you have any feedback about the new format, please let me know. I am going to continue to show you some of the projects that I'm working on, some of the finished objects that I'm working on. And I think I'm going to do a little bit of a stash dive and show you some of my favorite yarns and where they came from. And then maybe when the weather's a little bit nicer, I was thinking of perhaps doing some local yarn shop crawls and seeing what's out there. So until next week, thank you so much for joining me. All the best. I hope you have a terrific Friday and a nice weekend. And thank you very much for coming and spending this time for me. All the best. Bye-bye.